Okay. Thank you. Everybody gets a piece of paper. Now we're going to do a tab book. Now, you can make this book. Uh-oh. There's Caleb's biology. What's that doing there? You can make these books really, really tiny, but I don't recommend it simply because it's kind of difficult to do. So I recommend doing, no smaller than on a half sheet of paper, but I'll show you why here in a second. Okay, take your regular piece of typing paper or whatever. This is regular paper, not cardstock. This is going to be a pattern for what we call the tab book. This is part 10. Oh,
what we're using the map for?
Yes, the map is only being used as scrap paper. Sorry, that's all I had. Don't worry about keeping that map safe. This is going to be a tab book. This is the last one we're going to do, I think, because I'm running out of time. Hamburger fold this, and then we're going to cut it in half. Okay, so use that mountain peak. Now, one of the things I did with the kids was we used a bound book, turned it into a tab book. You can do that, and you'll see that once you see what I'm doing. You'll see how you can do that. Otherwise, you will need staples or tape with this book, okay? All right, so we're going to hamburger fold this thing at least 3 times, okay? So hamburger fold. Increase it real good because you want to see those lines real tight, okay? Crease it. Hamburger fold it again. And then hamburger fold it again. And you know what? Let's hamburger fold it again. Let's do 4. Okay. Hamburger fold it. Kathy was ahead of me again. She's already done this. She's cheating. Her kids are in my co-op. All right.
She teaches well.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. She said I teach well. I'm just making sure you heard that. Write that down. Okay. Let's show this to my children. She thinks I'm a good teacher. Okay. All right. So this is now your pattern. Okay. So we're going to unfold this. And then you're just going to set it aside for a moment. But what you'll see is that you have 16 equal rectangles. Okay. Should have 16 equal rectangles. All right. Get 2 pieces of 8.5 by 11 cardstock. 2 pieces. Hamburger fold them both. Okay, hamburger fold them both. See how much easier this is to do when I tell you the terminology at the beginning of the class? Otherwise I'd be saying, okay, well, sure, fold the top part to the bottom. See, that terminology is important, and it'll be important to your kids too. It will speed them up greatly. Because they'll be able to speak your language, Mom. That's always cool. At least until they're 15 or 16, and then it doesn't matter. They're speaking some sort of alienese. It doesn't matter what you think you're speaking. Okay. I love my teenagers. I'm just kidding. Okay. All right. These, we're going to cut these 2 pieces down the mountaintop. Okay? Cut them. Kathy, what I was saying was that we had done a bound book before. We did a bound book before because I didn't want to use a stapler with the little kids, but we're going to go ahead and cut these and use a stapler. You would use a stapler for this one. All right, so.
I was even cut them. I'd have probably just sandwich.
Yeah, and you can do that too. I mean, you can just glue up that valley and stick them together. That's fine too. But this gives you the option of opening the tab book the right way, or instead of it up and down, you can do it left to right. And that's kind of what I wanted to do with this one. So I taught my kids seasons of the year with this book. Parts of speech we taught with this book. Different parts of a story, different types of literature. I made them, they put little stickers on this book. All right, these 4 pieces that you now have, set aside for a moment. You are now going to take the piece of paper that we are using for a pattern, and you are going to cut the far right, hold it long side up, far right top. rectangle. Far right. All the moms are looking at me like, far right. This is my right. Do as I say. Not okay. You guys like far right. Top rectangle. Okay, got it? Your right. The other right. Okay, and you should have pretty distinct lines there for cutting that. It shouldn't be difficult to do. Like that. Now, take one of the pieces of cardstock, lay your pattern on top of that half sheet of cardstock. All right, see that? You're going to cut that tab off. Okay, so wherever my pattern is laying, I'm going to cut my cardstock in the same place. All right, does that make sense? You're using it as a pattern. All right. See what I did? I don't cut my own myself here. All right. I cut that off because that's what my pattern exposed on that piece of cardstock. I'm going to set it aside. Now, I'm going to cut another rectangle on my pattern off. All right. You should, like I said, you should have pretty good lines. The better you crease, the better those lines will be for cutting. Teach your kids that too. Teach them that's why it's important to fold evenly. Okay. Same thing. Get another piece of cardstock, half sheet of cardstock. You'll see now that I have a longer piece exposed, and I'm going to cut all of that off. We're going to do that one more time. Okay. One more rectangle. And again, you keep the pieces of cardstock you've cut off. You will use them for something else. Put them in the scrap box. I'm going to take the pattern. I'm going to cut one more tab off. One more rectangle off. Okay. And then I'm going to set that on top of my one of my pieces of cardstock. Oh, I should have done that better. That's all right. Okay, like this. And now you'll see I have this much area exposed. All right, so we're going to cut that off. And now what you should have, when you hold all of 4 of these pieces together, you should have this one, see if I can get them together, that one, and that one. They should all fit together so that you have 4 tabs. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. And if you do them, if you use a bound book to do this, then what you wouldn't cut these into 4 half sheets. You would cut them into. Now here's the thing. If you want to use more pieces of cardstock in order to do this, you could, in theory, fold this pattern one more time, make these tabs much smaller. They'd be then half of this, and you'd have a much larger book. Okay. For a pattern, you mean? It'd be easier to fold, right? But it'd also tear easier, so you'd have to be careful. Yeah, tissue paper. She recommended tissue paper if you wanted to, and that's true. That's true. But there's your so you had a pattern that you didn't have to go to the store to get. You didn't have to buy tabs. You made tabs. Okay, and this is your tab book. I used this to teach seasons. I told you earlier, parts of speech. They can use it for parts of history. You know, so many years to so many years, and then so many years to so many years, and or parts of a book. Let's say they do 4 chapters. You want them to write a little report on each chapter. Okay, so there are lots of different ways. Oh, good, somebody brought a stapler. So there are lots of ways to use this one. And one of the things that I do when they're little is I let them put stickers on to represent whatever's under that tab. You know, so let's say this is all about flowers. The tab book is all about flowers. Well, they can use flower stickers. They can then just if they're young especially, they can just paste. It is loud. They can just paste magazine pictures of flowers that match the flower that you have on the sticker. I mean, there are just several different. Be creative with that. Let them be creative with that. That's my hope, is that whatever it is that you've taught them to do with the mini books is they've learned to use and be creative with and own their education, and want to review it. Okay? Good. All right. So that's a pop-up book.